Hello and welcome to Kel's Coaching. Funnily enough, I'm Kels, and today we're going to have a look at a first dragon strategy that I came up with and I use in all of my teams, and hopefully be able to implement it for you and your ranked 5 teams. So, looking at the board here, as this is my first video demonstrating one of these plays, I'm just going to go over a little bit of how the screen is going to work. We're going into this thinking that both teams are evenly matched, they're just standard team fight teams, there's no real early or late game advantage for either side. It's pretty much just for both teams to clash, and it's up to strategy to win. So on the left hand side you can see all of the blue champions. So at the top we've got a square representing, the solid brick that a top laner normally is, a bit of a tank. We've got a circle for the jungle because they are literally all around everywhere on the map. Star for the mid because usually the mid laner is known as the star player, so naturally we'll give them a bit of a star there. ADC, mainly they've got a triangle because it looks sort of like an arrow or a bullet, so that's why I went with that. And support has got the fat cross sort of symbol. Basically, for those of you from England, you'll know about the Red Cross, and so it's pretty much based on that, showing that they support and they look after their team. Obviously we have the same on this side for the red side. Now if we go into the actual play itself, so standard start, standard lanes, junglers are both going off with their blue buffs. So for the purpose of this, don't worry too much about where the junglers are, because obviously they're going to be going around doing their different buffs and their different camps. So for the moment, won't really focus too much on where they are until I actually bring attention to it later on. Everybody's even, everyone's at the middle of their lanes. It's down to whoever wants to push, whoever wants to fall back. It's pretty much just down to the teams how they want to play it. By the way, just to clarify, we are going to be working from a blue side perspective here. So the blue side are going to be putting off the rotations, and then you're going to have red side just falling prey to it. First of all, to start this play, it begins in the bot lane. Now, you have two choices of what to do here. The first one, they have the option to push up. Now what this does, naturally, forces the red side bot lane to go to their tower, start losing creeps, and this frees up the whole of this space for the blue side support to do what they want with. Alternatively, you have another option. So back to the starting position again. What you do when both teams are in the middle, evenly matched, say you're getting pushed in, or in fact if you want to let yourself get pushed into tower, they're farming under tower nicely, red side is all confident, and it's up to them when they want to initiate this move for you, so they actually fall into a trap. So what happens with that version is when red team eventually decides they want to recall, this leaves the whole of bot lane open for blue side, and naturally you're not just going to recall straight away and lose everything to tower, so you're going to push it back up. So as long as you can get it up to the middle of the lane, you'll be absolutely fine, because then the support pops the ward in that bush. So as long as the ward is in the second bush, the bush that's closest to the bot lane tower of the enemy team. Pop that in, they recall, and now both teams on the bot lane have gone back and refreshed their items. So what you see here is obviously red team's bot lane is coming back down again. You can tell who's going to hit the lanes first, and therefore which way the minions are going to push towards us. Looking at the rest of the map while the bot lanes are returning, what happens now is you get your jungler to move up to the top side of the map. Now this can either be for a gank, or if they get spotted, quite simply join the top laner, and together they can both push up and push the red side top laner under tower. Now what this is going to do is this is going to put some pressure on the red side top laner. So naturally when he's under some 2v1 pressure top lane, he's going to call for some support to protect his tower. So what happens now then is you get the red side jungler, wherever he is going to head on over just as the bot lanes are returning to lane. Let's have a quick look at the bot lane now just so we can refresh where we are. The opponent's bot lane have already hit the minions and they've started pushing towards your tower, and your bot lane are literally just arriving back in, so they're going to pick up whatever's left by the time they get to the tower. This puts your opposing bot lane in the perfect position to pull off this move, but we'll come back to that section in a minute. So the opposing jungler has made his way across the map and he's about to support his top laner. As we know he's about to turn up, what we do is you have your top laner fall back to one of the brushes, but the jungler's stuck around just to give the impression that there's still some pressure up top and that their side needs to be careful. Now, what happens is you have your top laner initiate the teleport down to that ward that was placed earlier by the support. Now it's important that this ward here is a 3-minute proper green ward. Don't put a pink ward because there's a chance they're going to find it. Don't put a trinket ward because then you have to rush the rest of the play and there's not a guarantee you're actually going to put it off in that minute that you get. Okay, so put a 3-minute ward down here. Now if your top laner TP down, and at the same time your jungler decides he's going to start moving down the jungle because he's going to make his way down towards the bottom of the map for the rest of the play, but of course we'll cover what he does in a minute when he approaches a relevant position. Now, top laner arrives. As soon as he's in lane, your bot lane pushes up and the top laner pushes up, so you get a sandwich effect. And at the end of the day, simple maths dictates that it's 2v3. They're also sandwiched in, so they have to fight their way past the top laner to get to safety, or they can try to fight your team in a 2v3, which is also right next to your tower, so they're always going to be at a disadvantage here. Their jungler has been pulled to the top side of the map, so there's no support there. As long as your mid laner is doing their job properly, they'll be calling MIA if the opposing mid laner does disappear, but at the moment they're still there. So as the sandwich effect goes down, you still get your jungler moving down the rest of the map. Now, the sandwich initiates. The opposing enemy jungler is going to start making his way down. Naturally, he could always recall and walk, but it's pretty much going to be about the same time frame. And to be honest, he might not even want to come straight down to this fight, because at this point it's apparent that these two have already lost the battle, and bringing more people down from the top side of the map is a complete waste of time. So, you get the sandwich going on. Best case scenario, you get a double kill. If not, maybe they get pushed back. At the end of the day, they're going to be forced out of lane, they're going to be low health, they're going to have to recall. As long as they are out of this space, that's absolutely fine. That's what you're trying to get at. So don't get disheartened if you don't get any kills, don't just give up on the play. The idea is to remove these two from the equation. So what happens then, there's 3 people bot lane, there's 2 people around the mid lane, okay? The top lane is up there, he could use his teleport now if he wants, but then he'd be going into a 1v3, which is just generally retarded. And then you have the jungler on the enemy side, who can of course make his way down slowly, but again he's going to be outnumbered when he does arrive. So what you do then is you get your 3 people in the bot lane and your jungler to move on dragon. They all collect around it. You pick up your first dragon and it's absolutely free, no one's going to contest that. At a push, you might get the enemy jungler coming in for a steal, just mop up that kill. Let's have a look at some points to consider in this, because naturally I'm going to get a lot of comments of people saying, but what about if this happens, what about if this happens? So I've had a look at the logical counters that the enemy team could try to put into play. So the first one being the enemy jungler's options. You're obviously trying to get the jungler's attention. Just to recap to where we actually are at this point in the plan. Both bot lanes have recalled. Their bot lane of course is a bit ahead of yours, but they're not quite in lane just yet. When your jungler appears topside, the enemy jungler has to decide what he's going to do. Now, of course, there is the option that he could go bot lane and therefore try to gank on the opposite side of the map to your jungler, because he knows that this area is safe from a counter gank. However, what happens when he looks at the bottom side of the map? There's nobody there to gank, and if their communication's any good, he'll know that your bot lane are absolutely miles away from ending up in lane. Going down there will be a complete waste of time. Now of course he could go for a dragon attempt down here with the bot lane, but what that does is that openly concedes the top tower, and in the time it takes to gather everyone around the dragon, these two could easily push up, take the first tower, possibly even push onto the second tower. Now, of course he can gank the mid lane, but what this does do is leaves the top lane open for the 2v1 pressure, and eventually this top tower is going to go down. So again, it's not the best decision at most. Also, a reason why that will not work, providing you're all on the same page, is that your mid laner knows exactly what's going on. You've all discussed this plan, so why would your mid laner push up and put themselves in a position where they can be ganked and they can throw the whole plan out the window just by being silly? They're not going to do that. So, quite simply, going mid lane is not the best option. So they're left with the third option, and that is of course going up top where we want them to be anyway. That's the jungler's options out of the way. Let's have a look at the other point to consider, which is the enemy top lane teleport. We're going to have a look at where we are on the map right now. Your top lane has just made a successful teleport down bot lane. These two have just realised what's happened. As your bot lane and your top lane try the sandwich effect we spoke about earlier, enemy support pops down a ward, and then you'll get the enemy top lane activating their teleport, appearing in the bot lane. But by this point, because your top laner came in so much earlier, if these two have stayed to fight, they're going to be dead. Simple fact. If they've not stayed to fight, then this guy's going to be left on his own. it's pretty much just a lose-lose because you've already got the advantage for so much extra time. The enemy top laner takes too long to get down there. There's also the enemy top lane version 2 teleport. Let's say as your top laner comes down with his teleport, while this is going on, the enemy support pops down a ward and then the enemy top laner TPs down from there into the bot lane so that both top laners appear at the same time. Okay, so you've got a 3v3 going on now. But look at the positions. They're still sandwiched. There's 3 of them and they're still sandwiched. So they've got 2 options, naturally. A, push up towards the top laner. Okay, they'd obviously try to catch him out while he's on his own. But naturally, top laners are normally a bit more tanky. They're either going to come with a lot of tankiness, a lot of damage, or a lot of CC. Pretty much any of that is going to occupy these 3. While your bot lane duo pushes up, and then you still get the same sandwich effect just further up the lane, and in the end that's going to go in your favour. Now the other option of course is having these 3 push down towards the squishier targets of their AD carry and support. What happens then is they move actually towards your tower, so they're just outside of range here. Your AD carry and support are obviously squishier than your top laner, so they've moved in to try to get a kill there. But what happens here is they can't kite backwards, because then they'll end up in the top laner's range, which is what they were trying to avoid in the first place. If they push too far forward, they'll go within tower range, which of course is even worse. So then, once they've pushed forward, your top laner simply sandwiches them in again, and they get the same effect. Now, what this does is causes panic. It's just a natural human reaction. When you're trapped in like that, and there's no clear-cut way out, and you have to make a decision, it's going to immediately cause panic. Even amongst the highest level teams, you're going to get a certain degree of confusion. Let's have a quick overview of the whole play now. So, breaking it down into 6 steps. The first step is you have your bot lane either fall back or push up in order to place a ward in their second lane bush. Second stage is you get their bot lane to push up, whether that's just by your bot lane recalling, or whether that's by forcing the enemy bot lane to recall as well. Either way, making sure that the enemy turns up in lane before your bot lane does. The third step is having your jungler assist the top laner, pushing up that top lane, putting some pressure up there to draw the enemy jungler away from the bot lane. Fourth step is you pull back a little bit, you have your top laner teleport to the bot lane. Fifth step, you converge on the enemy duo, you get the double kill or you force them out of lane, and you go on to the 6th step of picking up that dragon. Okay, now hopefully you've enjoyed this little quick guide. It's one of the more basic plays that I come up with, and it's probably one of the more successful ones that I do. Unless you've used it yourself before, it's very hard to follow, very hard to prepare for. It forces the enemy to make split-second decisions, and nobody likes to do that. It brings everybody out of their comfort zone. Nobody goes into a game thinking, I can't wait to make some decisions in 0.5 seconds. It simply makes people uncomfortable. It's a natural human reaction. So, go ahead, give it a go in your ranked 5s. Let me know how it worked for you. If you're having any issues with it, just drop me a message. If you've got any ways that people can outplay that, in fact, maybe drop me another message, and might need to do another video addressing ways to counter that sort of a strategy. It's all good. Thanks for having a listen and a watch, and thanks for giving me the time of day. I've been Kells, this is Kells Coaching. Have a look at the other videos, subscribe, add me on Twitter at KellsLol. Just give me all your feedback, whether it's positive, supportive, abusive, absolutely anything. I'm happy to receive it all. It just lets me know that my videos are getting out there and doing stuff for people, so that's great. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next time.